In the 1990s, America stood as the world's sole superpower, a beacon of hope, innovation, and prosperity. But somewhere along the way, the dream began to unravel. This is the story of how the United States went from the heights of global dominance to a nation grappling with division, decline, and disillusionment. The 1990s were a time of unparalleled optimism. The Cold War was over, and America stood alone as the world's sole superpower. The economy was booming, fueled by the tech revolution and the rise of globalization. Under President Clinton, the federal budget even saw a surplus, a concept that feels almost mythical today. Culturally, America dominated the world stage, from Hollywood blockbusters to the birth of the internet. It seemed like the American dream was within reach for everyone. But beneath the surface, the seeds of decline were already being sown. The prosperity of the 90s was built on shaky foundations that would soon begin to crumble. The new millennium began with a shock that would change America forever. On September 11, 2001, the world watched as the Twin Towers fell, and with them, America's sense of invincibility. The war on terror that followed plunged the nation into endless conflicts, costing trillions of dollars and thousands of lives. At home, civil liberties were eroded in the name of security, and the promise of unity gave way to fear and division. Then in 2008, the financial crisis hit. Wall Street's greed and reckless deregulation led to the collapse of the housing market, wiping out the savings of millions. The government bailed out the banks, but ordinary Americans were left to pick up the pieces. The 2000s exposed the cracks in the foundation of the American dream, cracks that would only grow wider in the years to come. The 2010s were a decade of division. The Tea Party and Occupy Wall Street movements symbolized a nation increasingly at odds with itself. Politically, the gap between left and right grew into a chasm, fueled by social media and 24-hour news cycles. Economically, the middle class continued to shrink as wages stagnated and the gig economy replaced stable jobs. Socially, the country grappled with deep-seated issues: police brutality, gender inequality, and a growing sense that the system was rigged against ordinary people. Then came 2016, a year that laid bare the fractures in American society. Donald Trump's election was less a victory than a symptom of a broken system, a system that no longer seemed to work for the people it was meant to serve. The 2010s were a decade of reckoning, but the reckoning was far from over. The 2020s began with a crisis that would test the nation like never before. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of America's healthcare system, its political divisions, and its dwindling trust in institutions. While other nations rallied together, America was paralyzed by partisanship and misinformation. The economic fallout hit hardest those who were already struggling, as billionaires saw their wealth soar while millions faced eviction and unemployment. Then on January 6, 2021, the world watched in horror as a mob stormed the Capitol, a symbol of democracy itself under siege. Globally, America's influence waned as China rose, and the nation's moral authority eroded. The 2000s have been a stark reminder of how far America has fallen, from a shining city on a hill to a nation struggling to find its way. So, where does America go from here? The story of the past 3 decades is one of decline, but it's also a story of resilience. America has faced crises before and emerged stronger, yet the challenges ahead are immense. Rebuilding trust, bridging divides, and restoring the promise of the American dream will require more than nostalgia. It will require action. As we look back on the triumphs and tragedies of the past 30 years, we must ask ourselves, is this the end of the American dream, or can we still rise from the ashes? The answer lies not in the past, but in the choices we make today. The question is, are we ready to make them?